But I watched CNN today, and they had the presidential debate, the U.S. presidential debate. And maybe some of you saw it, and if you did, well, it was amazing. It was amazing on every level. But what was especially amazing was afterward, they went to the panel of assembled Democratic operatives posing as journalists, and all of them were like shocked to discover that Joe Biden has dementia, like they couldn't believe it. What? Oh my gosh, he's non-compos mentis. No way. Are you serious? And I'm thinking to myself, what year is it, 2024-ish? Middle-aged people identify with that? Okay, 2024, people are saying. It was 2019 that I heard from a friend of mine who was friends with his sister, Val, that the family was very upset because Joe has dementia and he's running for president. And, well, I said this on TV, by the way, at the time, and was denounced as a racist or something. I mean, everything, in the United States, like, that's just like the all-purpose term for shut up. Racist! I was like, I think he's white. Shut up, racist! Okay, anyway, But his sister had told a friend of mine, like an actual friend of mine, one of my neighbors, that the family was upset and that his son, sadly, had passed away. By the way, not in Iraq fighting a war for freedom, but of cancer. I don't think he's aware of that. But sad, and that the family was convinced he needed to kind of get it out of his system by running for president. But of course, no one's going to like make Joe Biden the nominee because we had Pete Buttigieg for that. Who's, now it's a joke, but at the time they were like, people are gonna love Pete Buttigieg. He's incompetent, but he's gay. Great. And then people are like, what? No. So they had to go to Joe Biden, and he actually became the nominee and then somehow became the president. But it was obvious the whole time that he had no idea where he was, and that it was cruel, and that his grasping, horrible wife who like poses as a doctor was pushing this so she could go to state dinners. And everyone knew this. Like, there's not one person who didn't know this. And when you travel outside our borders, you know, people are always so nice about other people's countries. Like, they don't attack you to your face. And obviously, I'm the most American person who's ever lived, and I love my country, and I'm going to die there, and would die for it without even thinking. That's how much, and I mean that. So everyone wants to be polite to you about your country. And when, like, if I ever went to New Zealand, I wouldn't mention Jacinda Ardern or what, you know what I mean? That would be rude. I wouldn't say, like, oh, that retarded girl with the teeth, is she here? You know, I wouldn't. That would be, no, I wouldn't. Because that's not something a guest says, right? You're in someone else's, you know, you're having dinner at someone's house, and like the food is appalling. Oh, it's so good. You know what I
mean? Hey, Tucker is absolutely on point with this, and that's why I'm showing you guys this clip here, but I've definitely been in one of those moments. That is for sure. Where you're at somebody's house, you know, they're kind enough to feed you. And in my case, the food was like so spicy. I was at a Hispanic family's, yeah, I know, mistake. Boy, would I tell you, I mean, it was good, but man, yo, bro, my mouth was on fire. And of course, you know, I was probably 14 at the time. No, maybe a little younger than that, maybe 12 or 13. And, you know, I wanted to be respectful. You know, they were nice enough to have me over. They were neighbors at the time. And, you know, made dinner, gave me food, everything. I'm not going to be rude and like, nah. I ate it, of course, but man, boy, oh boy, I made sure that I didn't go back. Love them, you know, very kind people, loving folks, but man, they loved spicy food. Y'all ever been in that situation? Let me know. I just had to mention that because, man, that memory just came back when he mentioned food, and you know, it wasn't nasty, it was good, it was just hot, boy.
But even given the high standards of politeness offered to foreigners in foreign lands, everywhere I've traveled around the world for the past 4 years, and it's been a lot of countries, people are like, so Joe Biden, how is he? You're like, well, I think he has dementia. He certainly does. Like everybody knows, because they have, I can't remember, the internet. and it has video on it, and it takes about 15 seconds to determine the leader of the most powerful country in the world with this mass nuclear arsenal involved in 2 simultaneous wars doesn't know what day it is. And that's really scary. But if you come to the United States and you're in the media envelope, this like fake world created by these disinformation specialists who run our media, that's never mentioned at all. It's like
facts. And I made a whole video on that where I showed you guys a compilation of all of the media saying Joe Biden was fine. He was as sharp as a tack. You know, the hardest thing to do when seeing Joe Biden is preparing for the meeting. Karine Jean-Pierre said he's her mentor. You know, all of this type of stuff. But then as soon as the debate happens, oh my goodness, we got to get rid of Joe. We got to get rid of Joe. You know, as if they had no clue, right? As if it was just this total shock to them. They knew the entire time, which is why, you know, in that video, I said we should not allow them to just be able to get rid of him. You made this bed, now lie in it. And I went as far as saying, I think Trump should back out of the second debate. I don't think he should debate in the second debate. There's no need to embarrass Biden anymore, right? Because that just gives them even more of an excuse to try to replace him. No. You ain't pulling the plug on this. As a matter of fact, I'm cheering on Joe Biden. I want Joe Biden on the ballot in November against Uncle Trump. I'm cheering him on. Joe Biden, I'm riding with Biden. I'm riding with Biden until election day. But once election day comes, Biden, you're on your own. You are on your own, buddy. But I'm going to ride with you for now. I'm going to cheer on Biden until the day before election day. And then, you know, hey, I'm going to send you off to the wolves, buddy, because sayonara. Sucker. You know? But yeah, all seriousness, man, I'm cheering them on. I want Biden on the ticket come election day. I want to see Trump and Biden on that ticket come election day. And of course, we're going to all celebrate when Uncle Trump, the Don himself, you know, takes office again. But the establishment made this bed, so lie in it. That simple.
Everyone it would literally be like everyone pretending Jacinda Ardern is like a legitimate person, which they may have done in New Zealand. I wasn't there. You know what I mean? Where people say, oh, that's the prime minister. What? It's ridiculous, actually. But everyone sort of plays along like it's not happening. And the whole Emperor's New Clothes story is based on this phenomenon, which is a very human phenomenon. But for the media today to be like, wow, we just got the diagnosis. This is shocking. He can't run for president. Kind of either they're really stupid, like too stupid to breathe unaided, or they're liars. They're truly dishonest. They're hiding the obvious from you. And I'm betting on the latter, but even more amazing was the response to that. So remember that our media are not just observers of reality or describers of reality, people who bring you the story first on the scene. No, they're the gatekeepers to reality. You don't know what the world looks like except through them. Like they are the pipeline through which all information flows. And in the United States, they're political actors. They work for a political party, in effect, if not officially. Like they all work for the Democratic Party. And the Democratic Party, and I think this is probably true here, has one mission this season, which is to save democracy, which is gravely in peril, you may have heard, by Vladimir Putin, who is ending our democracy, somehow. And don't laugh. What are you Putin lovers? Anyway, yeah, okay. That's fine, I don't care. It's not my president. You can love anyone you want, as far as I'm concerned, because I believe in, the autonomy of man. You can have your own opinions. But the point is, in my country, and probably here, the self-described mission of everyone in the media is to save democracy, and democracy, simply defined, is the idea that the people own their country. It's their country, and they hire people to represent them. But fundamentally, they are shareholders in this enterprise. They're owners. They're not serfs. They're not renting it. This isn't a rental car. It's your car. You change the oil in it because it belongs to you, right? And that's what citizenship is. And so in a democracy, you don't have to do everything the majority wants every moment, but over time, if what you're doing bears no relationship to what the majority wants, then you know for a fact it's not democracy. And, you can try to convince people of things. You can say, well, you want this, but I think you should want that, and here's why. But you can't ignore them, or else it's not a democracy.
I guess I should also mention this is a speech in Australia, not the United States, which, as you guys can see on the podium, it says the Australian Freedom Conference. So just an FYI.
It's an oligarchy. And you see yourself as the owner, and they're the tenants, the serfs, the renters. And you can just do whatever you want. And it doesn't matter what they think. So that's the most anti-democratic attitude possible, right? That attitude is the enemy of democracy. And all of a sudden today, these defenders of democracy are like, well, obviously Joe Biden's got Alzheimer's, and he's super unpopular, he can't win, therefore we need to replace him. And it's like, wait a second, he was already elected in the biggest landslide ever. I don't know if you knew that. Like, he got over 1 billion votes, in our country. He got more votes than Black Jesus. And because he's just so unbelievably popular, people just love Joe Biden. It was a landslide, literally a landslide in 2020. And that gives him the authority to do whatever he wants, whether you like it or not, because so many of your neighbors voted for him. You don't know their names. But it happened, okay? It happened. It's sort of like COVID deaths. You never actually met anybody who died of it, but millions did die. Everybody voted for Joe Biden except you, so shut up. So he has this mandate, this moral mandate to do literally whatever he wants, import 30 million people illegally, and you're not allowed to say anything about it, racist. And yet, at the same time, and then Democratic primary voters, just like the other day in our system, the members of the party vote for their nominee. He's elected by his own party. People actually went to the polls, cast a ballot for him. But all of a sudden, because he might not win against the orange man, we need to take his job away from him by force and let the donors put someone in there who can beat the orange man, because that's democracy. And that made me start to think for the first time, maybe we're defining the word democracy a little differently. Maybe you've got a different understanding of what that means. Maybe you think democracy is when we do exactly what you and 8 of your friends want. That's what you think it is. Whereas I think democracy is when you do the will of the majority over time.
Tucker made a fantastic point there at the end when he was talking about how, Democrats are always talking about democracy, democracy, democracy. But, well, people voted for Joe Biden. Like, Democrats voted for Joe Biden. They wanted Joe Biden. But now all of a sudden that it's obvious to the entire world, this entire planet, that the guy that they voted for democratically, right? He can't beat the orange guy. Now it's like, oh, no, forget about democracy. We're going to replace this guy with somebody else. Well, don't Democrats love democracy? Well, you allowed the people to vote democratically, and now you just want to replace him just because you feel like he's going to lose? That doesn't sound like a democracy to me. Sounds like a dictatorship. And that's the thing. Like, these Democrat politicians always scream about democracy, 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 but at every turn, they don't want a democracy. Right? They tried to take Trump off of the ballot. I thought in a democracy, the people get to choose. And I know we live in a constitutional republic, for somebody that's going to type that in the comment section. But I'm just saying, based on what Democrats have been saying, it's a democracy, right? So if that is true, then why do they keep trying to take our choice away? The people of this country, Democrat voters, voted for Joe Biden. The people of this country want to vote for Donald Trump. They're trying to take both of those people away. Now, they failed with the Donald Trump thing. We'll see if they'll fail with the Joe Biden, taking Joe Biden away. But that's not a democracy. You see what I'm getting at? Like, it's interesting how they say it on one hand, but then do something completely different. Really, really strange. But anyway, I just wanted to show you guys that clip. I thought it was pretty interesting when I came across it. Big shout out to Tucker Carlson. All right. Shout out to the land down under as well. Australia, baby. But as always, y'all stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.